Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Demons Within Us, a mental health Q&A. And with me, your host, Knock Knock Neo. Firstly, I would like to thank everybody for continuing to support the channel. Um, I went from, I didn't know if anyone was really gonna like it, but now I have 14 subscribers. And for me, I know everybody out there has like a huge amount of subscribers, but for me, 14 subscribers is a big deal because I didn't even know like people are really into this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I guess it's important. It's a lot of talk nowadays. It's not a lot of talk. It's all the talk nowadays. So I guess maybe that's why. But I appreciate the fact that people think my stuff is cool and I have some interesting stuff to say. So thank you very much for everybody. I'm hoping that you like the rebranding of the channel. I'm hoping that you like the new series, the Almighty Mindset series, and the codependency series for those who are codependent and coping. And yeah, please, as always, drop me a line. My mental wellness expertise and tutoring services are now up there for you to check out if you ever need an additional help. Anyways, check out the video, and you get a better idea of what I'm offering to everybody. So I just want to say thank you one more time. And I think we have some great questions today, so let's get to it. How can I improve my self-esteem when my self-worth is determined by my appearance and my academic scores? All right, that is a really good question. When my scores dip or I feel my appearance becomes less attractive, my sense of self-worth and self-esteem just crumble. I struggle with depression and an eating disorder and find these things get in the way of my motivation, which is often damaging to my academics appearance, creating a bit of a cycle. Any practical advice? Thanks. So as you can see, I've already answered the question, but it is such a great question that I had to post it on YouTube because I know everybody is probably going through this. Probably college students, most likely students who are about to graduate high school. You know, things like when this stuff like really matters, and you sort of regard yourself as an academic. You know what I mean? Like when you are good in school and you constantly got good grades, you sort of tie your self-worth to your grades. And then if you get a bad grade, you're like, oh shit, I'm fucking stupid. And then you're not. You just didn't get the material well. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means that you just didn't understand it as well, and you'll get it, and you'll get it the next time around. That's really it. So, there are two ways that you can do, there are two ways to do this, right? So the first way is, let's say that I'm assuming that your grades and your appearance are very important to you, right? But if you connect your grades and your grades to your appearance, or your self-esteem or your self-worth to your grades and to your appearance, your self-esteem and your self-worth will fluctuate as much as your self-esteem and your self-worth will fluctuate as much as your grades will and your appearance will, depending on it. So for example, if you have, like, let's say you have clear skin one day and then you have a pimple the next day, it's not the end of the world. Your self-worth should not dip because you have a blemish on your face, because that'll pass. That'll definitely pass. For all of a sudden, for you to go from like, from like 100 to 0, that's not healthy. Kind of like a yo-yo diet. You don't want to lose so much weight and gain it so quickly in such a small period of time. That's just so unhealthy for you. And same thing with the grades. Like if you, let's say you have such a strict standard of your grades that if you don't hit a 90 or above, then your whole world is gonna crumble. But fluctuations in your grades will happen because you cannot expect yourself to understand all the material um, at first jump. You know what I mean? Like there are gonna be times where you're gonna need additional practice for certain things that you just don't quite understand. And for you to tie your self-worth to those things that constantly fluctuate is really unhealthy. Right? But if those things are important to you, the only thing that I can do, or the only thing rather that I can really recommend, is to understand that your grades and your appearance will fluctuate over time, right? So if you sort of like loosen the reins on your, or loosen the controls on your measurements. For example, if you give yourself, well, if I don't get an A, if I get a B instead of an A, then maybe I'll feel a little fucked up about it. Or if I gain 20 pounds, or if I let if I let myself go or whatever, then, maybe I'll, stuff like that. Like widen your, like, broaden the horizon a little bit, widen the range a little bit, so that when you do experience these fluctuations, they're not, the waves are not so, it's not a tight up and down wave, like a like a really, like, screeching sound wave. It's more of a bass line, like, broad wave. So the fluctuations are there, but they're not as chaotic, right? So try to stabilize yourself and your self-esteem with factors that are less likely to fluctuate and cause less chaos. The better way to do this is to do a little soul searching, and to and to what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, to measure your self-esteem and your self-worth by your inner qualities, right? Maybe by your ability to make people laugh. Maybe you enact fairness, or you believe in the overall good, or maybe, you value your intelligence overall, but not, like, maybe not like your grades specifically. If your grades go up and down, but you value the fact that you seem to be an intelligent person who seems to grab subject matter fairly quickly than most people, or that you're more adept at a certain subject than you are at others, or perhaps you are artistic. Like, those things will fluctuate. Are those, like, just measuring your self-esteem and your self-worth with the quality itself, and your competence and your ability to do those things? It's a lot more stable and healthier, and probably even deeper, um, you know, than measuring your self-worth and your self-esteem with things like grades and your appearance, right, which are a lot more superficial, right? So to value your intelligence is not really superficial, because it's more of like your intelligent capacity, your ability, your competence, and stuff like that, comprehension, stuff like that, not necessarily the grade itself. So that's where it varies a little. That's where it varies a bit differently. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, and I'll move on to the next question. How do I respect myself? This is a really, 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 really great question, because it's like a brand new adult question, right? Because when you're kids, you walk around, you do your thing, you have no idea what a moral compass is, or what respect or self-respect is, or trust. Like, no one, like, you kind of have an idea what trust is, but not really. You sort of just, you kind of just figure it out through conversation, right? Or the way adults talk to you. But there's no sort of universal construct that we learn from, right? There's no, like, book that says this is what morality is. Some people argue that's the Bible, but I won't even go there. That's a different conversation. But having your own code. So if you're interested in something like this, like, how do I respect myself, please check out my Almighty Mindset video about having your own code and creating your own code that you want to live by, creating your own codes based on integrity and values and principles and stuff like that. Okay, I think it'll be a really great video, especially if you're a young adult trying to figure out who you are and what you stand for, what you believe in, and stuff like that. Okay, so how do I respect myself? I'm not sure if anyone else struggles with this, but I never felt like someone who deserves respect. I feel like there's nothing I should be respected for. I have felt like this my whole life, and I don't know how I don't know how to come to terms with it. Okay, so I think a lot of people struggle with this. I personally struggled with myself when I was going through the initial stages of my mental health journey, when I was trying to learn what, self-love was, self-respect was, self-forgiveness, and all the other self stuff, right? So, self-respect is, from what I understand it to be, self-respect is the standards in which you want to treat yourself. And respect from others is the standard at which you want others to treat you, right? So I'm gonna talk about these two things separately. So self-respect, and actually, before I do that, I want to also say that self-respect can be seen by other people, right? So when you respect yourself, because I've seen people who really respect themselves, and you can see it, like, it's like it like exudes. It's like it's something about them. You're just like, wow, this person really like takes care of themselves. You know what I mean? So you can see that. So when you respect yourself and you conduct yourself in a certain manner, people will pick up on that unconsciously, and they will follow suit. Right? That's where the whole "if you don't respect yourself, nobody else will" idea comes from, because it can be seen by others. Right? So talking about self-respect first. Self-respect is the difference between being lazy and let's say self-respect is the difference between using a plate that you don't want to wash because you're too lazy, so you're going to put brand new food on a dirty plate, or you're going to get a plate from a clean plate from the cupboard and put your food on there. I know some of you don't want to do dishes, so you do paper plates, or you do or you know what, you just look at the plate, you're like, oh, you know what, this plate isn't so dirty. I can put my brand new food on top of it. Like those are your standards of self-respect. I'm not gonna like I can't even say I'm not gonna judge you for it. Like if that's how you want to live your life, then that's really up to you. Like, and I think that's why people judge each other so much. It actually just came to me. Like, I think it's one of the reasons why people judge each other so much, because they judge from a level of their own self-respect. So if I'm a very high self-respecting person, like I won't eat from a dirty plate. You know what I mean? Like I won't just take a plate from some like that already has crumbs on it, but it looks kind of clean and put food on. I'm gonna take a clean plate from the cupboard and use it, right? But other people will say, oh, you know what's good enough. And I think people will look at that and be like, what's wrong with this person? Why can't you just use a clean plate from from the cupboard? And I think that's where a lot of our judgment comes from. I think what we have to do as a society is sort of respect other people's levels of self-respect. Like if they're gonna offer me a dirty plate, I'm gonna take a clean plate. I'm not gonna lie to you. Or I'm gonna take the plate that they gave me and wash it. So that way they can see the level of respect that I have for myself. You see what I mean? So self-respect can also be the difference between having a partner that's using you and you know that they're using you, or you being single and finding or having a partner that appreciates you, right? That is also a difference of self-respect. Another version of self-respect is the amount of bullshit you're willing to take from somebody, right? So let's say you're at work, you got in trouble for something, or maybe your performance or your projections or your presentation wasn't as great. There are various ways that your VP, your team lead, your team whatever can talk to you, right? And it all depends on how you're going to tolerate it. So if they're going to talk to you and tell you, oh, you're an idiot, you're a buffoon, I can't believe you did this, you fucked it up, da 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 da, that's not constructive. You put time and effort into that project or presentation or whatever, and you've never, you know what I mean? Like there's certain things that you should just not tolerate. Like if someone's calling you names and stuff like that, you got to decide for yourself whether or not you allow that person to talk to you, right? And that is how you determine that is how you get others to respect you, and that is how you determine your own level of self-respect. Okay? So as you go along, as you go about your day, ask yourself, little things like, um, when you have an errand to run, will you wear a clean sweater, or are you gonna grab a sweater from the laundry bag that's been in there for 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Like you gotta determine that for yourself. And both of those things will show the level of respect that you have for yourself, right? When it comes to respect for others, for this particular person, I never felt like someone who deserves respect. I feel like there's nothing I should be respected for. I get the idea that this person is talking about like achievements and accolades. Oh, I never won an award. I never, did anything great. I never really did anything, extravagant or whatever, anything like that. But are those really the things that should be respected? Oh, I won Writer of the Year. Okay, that's cool. But should I be respected for it? Maybe as a writer, maybe that's pretty much it. But what about your humanity? Shouldn't you be respected as a good human being, especially if you are a good human being? Things like that. So you get to decide what level of respect that you want to treat yourself, and you also get to decide how you want people to respect you based on how you want to treat yourself. You get to decide what is worth your respect as well. What if I do let's say I got a writer's reward? Do you think the writer's award that I got is worth respecting. Because maybe you think the writing profession is bullshit. All writers are whatever writer. They're not even real journalists, or they're not even. They're just bloggers. They're just glorified bloggers, or whatever. Whatever. You may not have respect for um, the craft of writing, so you may not even respect the award that I got. I didn't get an award, by the way. This is just really hypothetical. But you see what I mean, though. But you get to decide that. And if I don't respect the lack of respect that you're giving me, then I'm not saying we're gonna fight, but then I understand that you're the type of person who doesn't see value in writing, right? And then once I see that, then I have to figure out what I want to do with it. You know what I mean? And then then there's a whole different thought process behind that, you know? So, I think that is it. I think I answered that question pretty well. Um, if you ever have any questions about self-respect, about moral integrity, personal integrity, values, principles, trying to just really come with a sense of try to figure out your own sense of self, drop me a line. I can help you out with these things, how to figure out your own code and how to live by them, and stuff like that. My expertise and my tutoring is for sale. Check out my website, and I can really, really help you out with this. So take care, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you again. Bye.